What is up, guys? Again, NotTheWorst here, bringing another Black Desert online video, and today we are taking a look at one of the new spots from the Elvia server update release. This is the Naga Marsh. So if you don't know where that's located, it is, I'll pull up the map right here, just northwest-ish of the actual Glitch town. So you've got this zone here, and then there's actually more mobs over to this side, which we'll take a look at in just a second. First up, the node manager, I'll show you, does have daily quests for you for just killing the mobs that are already here. So if you want to grab those, you can. He's a little annoying to actually like talk to. You got to line it up just right from there or jump onto the log. But you see he's got 3 different daily quests. It's killing specific type of mobs, 2 of those, and then just killing an overall 1,500 total amount of any of the mobs that are here as well. So you can grab those and pick up a bunch of predator roots. You get 10 total if you complete all 3 each day for it. Those predator roots get exchanged for different Elvia pieces that you might need, or you can even get Elvia weapon boxes. As far as with how the place works, you can see that there's just these elite mobs. If you look on the map here, you have just these commanders. When you attack them and go into them, they'll actually start spawning other mobs as well along with them. So that's kind of how it works. You'll kill these outright. Now, the actual mechanics of doing this is you want to use these guys over here, this poisonous swamp plant. What this will do when you attack these, it's going to put an additional DPD buff in addition to any DPD buffs you have on your skills with that giant green aura that's out there. So you can see on, well, you could for a second, you can see there's 3 DPD buffs because of the 2 from my skills, and there's an additional 3rd that gets placed on to the mobs because of that poisonous plant. This thing, however, if you see my HP kind of dipping and then my fairy bringing it back up, it does actually drain both your MP and your HP. So in some cases, even with classes that don't need like Spirit Perfume Elixir to sustain, you might consider using it if you're going to be using those poisonous plants, because you will find instances that you actually run out of MP with it. So keep that in mind. As far as rotations for it, you have a few options here. This circle right around the node manager is kind of nice because you literally just go around in circle here. The one drawback that I will say to using this area here is that if you get an Elvia weapon, you're going to overclear this most likely. The Elvia weapons are incredibly powerful, like incredibly powerful for grinding mobs here. It's actually unreal how strong they really are. So keep that in mind. When you get one, you'll probably overclear this circle in general. The other side to that is you can grind 2 people here when you don't have an Elvia weapon. When one person gets one, it's going to be game over for comfortably grinding that zone from there. So if you see where I am in relation to the actual node manager, just east of over here, I guess if you have the daily quest, you have this little pop-up circly thing for this area. So this is where I'd probably recommend, because this will actually support 2 or 3 people even when an Elvia weapon drops. You don't really need rotations per se for this kind of zone because of how the mechanics work. There's just so many elites commanders that are sitting around here. You can pull 3 to 4 to a poisonous swamp plant once you get them, and then just kind of jump to the next, 2, 3, 4, whatever. They have really good aggro range, just even without using an ability. You can pull them from there and see he just aggroes from there, and they'll go really, really far. So you could get all of them onto this little poisonous plant thing, get the debuff, and just go to town from there if you wanted to. As far as how far this extends, it's pretty far back. If you're busy dueling for spot over this, you're probably just wasting each other's time, because there's plenty of room. Like I said, even with an Elvia weapon, you can see how dense it is with these elites. They do take quite a while to kill just individually while you're going after them, so keep that in mind until you get an Elvia weapon drop. It looks like there's somebody actually out here, because these mobs even go even further. You can see some dead ones there. I mean, it's just super dense. Their respawn time is really, really great as well. So yeah, you definitely have flexibility with this place. It can support, like I said, a couple of people grinding here without any issue of overlap, and it's pretty quick, pretty relaxing grind as far as high-end stuff goes, since you're not worried about like what your pulls are doing or anything like that. Trying to pull things into the proper area and get the right rotations and that sort of thing. You're literally just pulling a handful of mobs into each other and going to town on that. Now, some other cool mechanics that this place has is there are Fogans that actually spawn in this area as well. Just kind of a little like time event thing that'll pop up from time to time for you. You'll see the Fogans all jump in and kind of jump onto you and attack. The thing is, these mobs will drop the items from Fogans, not the items from Nagas. So keep that in mind. You can actually get like Okiara's little pendant thing that doesn't drop at Nagas by itself. So that's a little something cool that's kind of interesting. And as far as trash per hour, you'll see when we look at the actual the spreadsheets for this, everything's going to be based around getting that Elvia weapon. The Elvia weapon damage is just drastically higher than what you're able to do without it. I mean, it's very, very high. If you have an Awakening build, you're running an Awakening set, each class does have an Elvia skill. I was running Succession, so didn't use it myself. Didn't matter. I imagine you want to pick up the Awakening weapon. I always picked up the main hand, obviously, since running Succession. And you just completely melt the mobs and absolutely dominates every single thing that you're doing from there. So before we jump into the spreadsheets, one other thing I want to take a look at is just what the buffs that I was using. I do want to mention there was a 50% drop buff, so that being on, these are essentially Arsha server numbers. Running throughout the whole time. Node level, I actually had it at level 1 for a while going through it, and got up to level 6 before I stopped, before I finished up the hours that I wanted to log for it. My ecology I had at 12%. I do have a 4% loot pet as well with that. So keep in mind these are going to be Arsha server numbers overall. So let's go ahead and get the spreadsheet up and take a look from here. All right, so we take a look at the spreadsheet and look at our numbers here. The first thing I want to point out is trash loot. It's all over the place. Okay. I actually had one where I had 9,000 trash at one point, but I didn't realize I was using an old moon scroll at the time, and I didn't want to log that into the sheet because it would skew the rare drops along with it. So I took that one out. That was one where I just literally had an Elvia weapon the entire time. When I run the Elvia weapons, I don't bother grouping them up onto the poisonous plant. I'll literally just group up the 2 or 3 and just annihilate them in 2-3 seconds or whatever it takes from there, because it's so super fast. So I'd probably recommend doing that. Only use the poisonous plants when you don't have an Elvia weapon up to get that DP debuff. If you find that you're able to clear them fast enough without it, fine, but the DP debuff is relevant. But the trash numbers are just kind of all over the place. I expect to see this as we continue to dive into all of the Elvia servers, and that's just the nature of how these Elvia weapons work. Sometimes you're going to get lucky. I did indeed have a couple of hours where I had 0, which was this one and this one. I didn't have any Elvia drops. This one, there was a little interference with some other players here and there, so we got a little lower in numbers from that. But yeah, the trash loot's just going to be kind of everywhere. Obviously, class is going to matter a lot. If you're playing like a striker, you have like ridiculous PvE. If you're playing a tamer, you have ridiculously terrible PvE, so it's going to fluctuate. And then just an extra RNG on top of the RNG is going to be that Elvia weapon drop with huge impact. The trash loot does sell for 18,000 a piece here, so same as Sakrea's Underwater, the Abyssal Zone. So it's a lot of money. It's a whole lot of money that you can bring in off just running blue loot scrolls for sure. As far as rare drops, we take a look. Shard, the Draining Knight shards, the yellow shard that drops. This is for the HP crit, the critical hit upgrade for crit damage for your rings. If you want to get up to 100 of these, you can see in 10 hours I got, I think that's about 55 for it, so it'd take me about 20 hours to get enough for that piece on it. Narc's Light, these are for the Black Star upgrades. You're probably just going to sell these since they do sell at 3 mil a piece, which is pretty nice, and I can't imagine there's too many people bothering to go with Black Star upgrades since it's a ton of work for a terrible return as far as value. BMCs, I put them in at 4 mil a piece just for that. They fluctuate obviously a bit. They didn't drop very much. It's just Ascension that drops at this place, so nothing crazy there. See the Void, again, probably an item you're just going to straight up sell. These sell for 10 mil a piece, which wasn't too bad since I was averaging 2 per hour. You can see that 5 hour right there, giving me 50 mil just in See the Void, which is absolutely insane. These are the Okiara little shards. These are similar to the Narc's Light, but these actually drop at Fogans. So you can see there's a much lower amount that was dropping. Again, this is because when those Fogan mobs spawned, their drop rate is actually based on Fogans, not on Nagas, but they did drop, obviously. Blackstones were absolutely outrageous. Keep in mind, these are Arsha server numbers, but averaging 131 Blackstones, you can see the impact that's had on the market since the Elvia servers released. Absolutely crazy how many Blackstones drop here. 163 in the first hour was actually the highest, but yeah, that was pretty nuts just getting that many Blackstones. Cold Tears, these are used for making the accuracy necklace that has been released. So this item is something you melt down, and you have looks like roughly 10% chance that it'll melt down into 2 liberated items. You get these liberated items. You need 5 of them to combine to make the actual necklace. The rare drop for it is this piece, the moon nail here. But you combine those items that you have into it, and you'll actually create the necklace using that. I marked it in at 150 mil for the necklace. They're actually much higher than that now, but I'm expecting them to kind of settle out. I was able to sell all of these the first 3 I was able to all sell over 175. I think one of them at 181, and then the 4th one's actually on the marketplace right now, sitting at like 172 right this second. So yeah, they're going to fluctuate. I imagine they'll settle at 150. If not, you know, it'll adjust a little bit. I did mark how many massive pure magic I was getting just because it was a lot in here. I know people in the past have complained about the cheer animation for massive pure magic at Star's End, but the thing is they drop so rarely there. It's not that big a deal. On Elvia servers, that's not the case. These drop like crazy. You should see how many drop at Orcs when we get into that video. It's nuts. So I think it's time we remove the cheer animation from massive pure magic. It's just super irritating with how often they're now dropping. And then the tier full shard, again, this is a piece for the accessory upgrade. This one doesn't drop as often because, again, this one comes from your Fogan mobs. So overall, we're looking at about a 247, we say 250 mil per hour on this spot. Again, Arsha drop rates are included with that. So it's pretty amazing. I know other spots are going to be higher for Elvia. This is just the first one to set out. We had a peak set up, I believe was just the very first hour was our best at 358 million just in that one. And the worst one was going to be one of those no Elvia hours at 158, I believe. Still, if your worst hour is coming out at 158, I mean, it's pretty good money. It's really good consistency since you're not relying on rare drops other than the neck. You're getting these Seed of Void and things that are selling for 10 mil a piece. You've got BMCs coming, and then the trash loot and Blackstones are just absolutely outrageous with what they're getting. So that's it for the Nagas spot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos just like this do go live. If you want to catch any of my other silver breakdowns, there is a link to the playlist of them in the description. You can check that out. You can also head over to my Twitch page, which is also linked in the description. Drop a follow over there if you want to catch me playing live. You can always see me working on these videos as they're coming out. I do them on stream so that you want to catch, get a little sneak peek of what's coming up or what the next one I'm working on is. Head on over there and drop a follow. That's going to be it for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.
That means you've got a surprise. Extra's next generation wallet, which is ultra slim and trackable.
Links your phone.